Hello, hello. Regis Kilbin is the name, and Heroes of the Storm is the game. Today I'm going to be breaking down a talent build I've been working on for Rexxar. He came out yesterday. I've had some time to play him up to level 8 so far, I believe. And this is what I'm calling the Beast Master Rexxar. It's a tankier build that's going to give you enough survivability and sustain to almost serve as a solo tank. Um, it's going to be hard to solo tank as Rexar, but I believe he has that potential if you play him well and you control Misha and smart and dexterous ways, I guess is the word. So the goal, the overall strategy of this build, I guess you could say, is staying alive, zoning for your teammates, having some limited crowd control options. So you want to get in the meat of a battle, get in between opponents and your squishy heroes, and essentially fulfill the tank role as you expect to do so. Rexar himself won't have much survivability with this build, but Misha is going to be very tough for opponents to kill. So if you position well and force them to burst down Misha instead of focusing on you, you'll essentially have a nice little tank and a little bit of extra damage as well compared to most tanks. So having two bodies and learning how to use them well can be very, very advantageous. So if you're not familiar with Rexar's ability set, let's run through that really quickly before we get into the talents. His trait is Misha Follow and Misha Attack. Essentially, this swaps her in between two stances, one where she stands close to you and only defends, and another where she plays a little bit more aggressively and chases down baddies. His Q ability is called Spirit Swoop. This is a straight line skill shot that fires a bird that does moderate damage and slows everything it hits by 30% for 2 seconds. So it's got a little bit of crowd control ability, whether you're chasing down opponents or trying to slow down anyone who might be chasing your teammates. The W ability is Misha Charge. This allows Misha, your bear, to jump out in a nice little forward area of effect, and she will stun any opponents inside that area of effect for 1.25 seconds, which is pretty significant. It doesn't do hardly any damage at all, but it can stun basically all 5 enemy teammates if they happen to be clumped together, say after a gravel bomb from Gazlowe or something. So the utility on Misha Charge is huge. It's your primary crowd control effect. Frankly, so far it seems to be defining as far as Rexxar is concerned. Your E ability is Mend Pet. This is a heal on Misha. It's a pretty significant heal depending on how much you spec into it in your talents. It can be even bigger, but even at the base level, it's going to heal Misha for, you can see it's 192 right now, and she has 800 health, so it's about 25% right now. And it's a heal over time, so it does take a little while to kick in, but if you use it well and you prep it before fights, Misha is very, very difficult to kill. We won't get into Rexar's heroic abilities just yet. We'll wait till we get to level 10. So, the Beast Master Rexxar build, all about survivability. Keep that in mind as we go through these talents. Talent tier level 1, we're going to go with Hunter Gatherer. This allows you to collect regeneration globes and basically increases both you and Misha's base health regen. It is currently, unfortunately, bugged so that only globes you and Misha pick up directly and specifically yourself work. In other words, teammates picking up globes don't work. But based on the way this talent works for everyone else and the way it's worded, that seems like it's a bug, and Blizzard will be fixing it in no time. So this talent's going to get even better, and it's already good. The other options in this talent tier aren't that great. Flare can be good if you have stealthies on the other side. Survivalist Training is just a mana talent, and Rexxar's not that mana challenged. Grizzled Bear is cool because it's basically just block, but it only works on Misha and not on Rexxar, which gives Hunter Gatherer, in my mind, a nice advantage. I noticed as I'm playing Rexxar, often Misha will be at full health, but Rexxar will be at like 50%, and he's a high risk because if he dies, Misha dies too. So having that basic regen kicking in at a higher rate keeps Rexxar fuller for longer. So level 1, Beastmaster Rexxar, go with Hunter Gatherer. Now let's level up to level 4.
Choose a talent.
Take a look at our next round of talents. Here, we are going to go with Hungry Bear. Misha's basic attacks heal her for 4% of her maximum health. This essentially, if Misha's in the middle of a fight beating on people, it's just going to give her a little bit extra sustain and heal on top of Min Pet. So you can essentially let the Misha leash run a little longer than you would otherwise, just because she has a little bit extra sustain. I like to let Misha really get in there and turn her loose, just so she's zoning and being in the thick of things as a body and soaking up extra damage. Because if she dies, it's low risk. You're not punished too hard. So giving her that extra sustain really goes far. As far as alternative talents here, Crippling Talons is good. It's going to give you a little bit extra crowd control with an increased slow on your Q ability. Taking Flight doesn't do much in my mind. Again, mana is not a limitation of Rexxar so far. And Easy Prey is a siege-based or minion-based talent, so it's not going to be that useful either in team fights. So Hungry Bear here is a strong talent for me to
I've got the scent.
Focus on tank build. Now let's go to level 7 for our next talent. This one is a fun tier because it has 2, in my mind, really, really good abilities. We're going to pick Aspect of the Beast for Beastmaster Rexxar because it is all about controlling Misha and making her as strong as possible. An Aspect of the Beast essentially lowers the cooldown on your W Misha charge ability every single time Misha hits a basic attack. So the standard cooldown here is 12 seconds, but you'll notice with Misha's attack speed, let's see if we can make her attack here. Jump, start attacking. It really only takes about 4 or 5 seconds for her W to come back up. So you're getting a huge AoE stun that's 1.5 seconds or 1.25 seconds in duration every 4 to 5 seconds. That's crazy. Admittedly, Blood of the Rhino is going to give Misha more healing and sustain, but you just can't pass up that much crowd control when you're serving as a solo tank. So if you want to be a solo tank, go Aspect of the Beast. You'll be popping Aspect of the Beast constantly during team fights. Has a huge impact at delaying opponents and controlling them. Blood of the Rhino is good. If you have tons of CC on the rest of your team, Blood of the Rhino might make sense. It's not a bad talent. Throwing Axe is not that stellar. It could be good in a damage build, but we don't care about attack range. We want Misha in the thick of stuff, surviving and wreaking havoc in every way. Bird of Prey is another talent that's focused on siege and minions, so it's not good for our tank build. Aspect of the Beast, in my mind, is one of the best talents in the game, frankly, and since it's on the defining ability for Rexxar and his best ability, it's got almost unlimited potential. So let's level up to 10 and take a look at our heroic choice for the Beastmaster Rexxar build. Here, out of the 2 choices, I'm not totally in love with either talent, but Unleash the Boars is the choice. It has a little bit more utility and a little bit more crowd control. So it is the tankier of the 2 builds. Bestial Wrath just gives Misha more attack damage, which can be cool if you're like dueling or if you're just an off tank that's doing damage. But as a solo tank build that needs sustain and survivability, Unleash the Boars is the better option. It can be great to start engagements because it slows down opponents. It can reveal stealthies, so anybody hiding in the bushes or a Nova or Zeratul that's camped out waiting, you'll pop them out of stealth. It gives you a little bit of crowd control. Does a little bit of damage, so it's a good initiator. It can also be good if your team is retreating and you need to save teammates because it'll slow down the encroaching enemy team. So Unleash the Boars is not my favorite talent in the world and certainly not the tankiest talent, but we're all about the beasts with this build and harnessing our beasts, so we're going to add some boars into the party with Misha. Boars and bears. Unleash the boars. Now let's head up
Choose
to
a
13.
talent.
This is a difficult tier to make a choice for. None of these talents are what I would call stellar or outstanding. It's kind of picking the lesser of four evils here, especially if you're trying to solo tank. The choice for Beastmaster Rexxar is going to be Barkskin. This is the straight up most defensive of all four talents. Anytime Misha uses the W ability, Misha Charge, she's going to basically get Spell Shield for 5 seconds, where she takes 50% less damage from abilities. And as I mentioned, we're going to be using Misha Charge, every 4 to 5 seconds, even 7 to 8 if things aren't going that smoothly. So the uptime percentage on her Spell Shield Barkskin is going to be pretty high. It's going to be up 75-80% of the time. And potentially you could keep it up almost forever in a really long team fight where you have a lot of rhythm rolling. So essentially that gives Misha a lot more survivability against area of effect or big ultimates, or if she tries to get bursted down. She's going to be annoying and almost impossible to kill. So she can zone out assassins in the back, or distract high damage dealers, or just get in the way and soak up some area of effect damage as well. Alternative options, Wildfire Bear can do a little extra damage, it's fine. It can add up over time. Thrill the Hunt gives you some chase and escape options, but doesn't really do much when you're right in the thick of things. Bear Necessities rewards you for missing, and I'm going to assume you're good and you're hitting most of your stuns. So we don't want something that rewards us for being subpar. Barkskin has the most upside and the most defensive utility, so for the Beastmaster Rexxar build, it's going to be our choice. Now let's check out level 16.
Choose a talent.
Okay, there are a couple options that I actually like here, but one is far superior to the rest, and that is Feign Death. This ability with a 35-second cooldown allows you to fake your death, becoming invulnerable and untargetable for 5 seconds. During this time, you control Misha. So, this is essentially Ice Block, but it lasts for 5 whole seconds, which is huge. And you get to control Misha, so it's Ice Block with tons of upside. And Ice Block's already a good talent that tons of people take. So it's no surprise that Feign Death is absolutely outstanding. So say Rexxar you see a blizzard circle appear under your feet, and you know it's going to kill you. Oh my gosh, blizzard, I'm going to die. Well, too bad. I got a cute little bruise on my chest, I'm dead. And now Misha's chasing Jaina down for the kill. And the great thing about Feign Death is that as you control Misha, you can still use Misha Charge. You can't heal, you can't Q, but your primary ability is still usable. So you can really go nuts for 5 seconds here as Misha. And being able to control her directly too removes a lot of the stress of and the frustration of Misha control in general. So Feign Death is fantastic, allows you to avoid burst damage, get out of sticky situations, go absolutely nuts with Misha. It's just a fantastic talent in every way. Primal Intimidation is a nice choice too. It's just going to slow all enemy auto attacks. It's essentially Rexxar's imposing presence with a different name. Critical Care, I've experimented with it too. It's fun. If Misha gets in really sticky situations, she just gets impossible to kill once you hit min to pet. Aspect of the Hawk is a good offensive talent that does extra damage, but for our tanky Beastmaster build, we don't care about damage. So, Feign Death it is. Now, for level 20, our final talent in the Beastmaster Rexxar build. This one is a little bit tougher too, but one thing stands out in my mind, and that is Hardened Skin. You and Misha take 75% less damage for 4 seconds. Hardened Shield is kind of a go-to talent for most of the warriors in the game. It's absolutely fantastic when you get right in the middle of a team fight and everybody tries to focus you down, but they're essentially just butterflies instead of bullets. They don't do anything because hardened skin is turned on and you're not taking any damage. And with Rexxar, it's even better because it works on both Rexxar and Misha. So no matter how sticky the situation is, no matter how deep you've gotten, once you pop hardened skin, you're virtually unkillable, especially if Misha has it with min pet and all that other stuff rolling. She is an absolute monster to deal with. And the cooldown, 60 seconds, it's essentially going to be up for every big team fight. Rarely will you need it more often than that. So hardened skin's a great talent. Kill command is an option. It takes Unleash the Boars, makes it do a little bit more damage, and roots people for 1.5 seconds. A 1.5 second root is pretty cool, but remember, roots don't stop abilities. It's not a stun, it's a root. So, yeah, you can lock people down for chases or retreats, but in team fights, they're still going to be casting abilities, they're still going to be healing, they're still going to be dropping AoE bombs. So the utility, I think, gets a little bit more limited. Frenzy of Kalimdor, of course, is another damage-based ability or talent that isn't going to help our survivability or tankiness. So hardened skin it is. So Beastmaster Rexxar, let's review these talents again. Level 1, Hunter Gatherer, increases health regen. Level 4, Hungry Bear, Misha is going to be healing on her basic attacks. Level 7, Aspect of the Beast, Misha's going to be stunning people way more often. Level 10, Heroic Ability, Unleash the Boars. Haven't shown that off yet, there's no enemies, so we won't see it. But that's going to give you a little bit of extra crowd control and even a little damage. Level 13, Bark Skin, Misha is going to get Spell Shield every time she attacks, and you can see that purple shield pop up there to indicate that. Not every time she attacks, excuse me, every time she charges. A lot of extra survivability. Level 16, Feign Death, Rexxar's dead, uncontrolled Misha, can still cast Hardened Shield even during Feign Death, that's pretty neat. And by the way, you can cancel Feign Death at any time, so you don't have to stay the full 5-second duration. And finally, level 20, Hardened Skin, reduce all incoming damage by 75% for 4 seconds. Fantastic tanking ability. So this build is going to be about the tankiest you can get as Rexxar without sacrificing all your crowd control abilities. So it's not the ultimate survivability build, but it's the best solo tank build. And you really have to learn how to play Misha well if you want to solo tank as Rexxar, but it can be done. It's very challenging in Hero League depending upon the opposing team's tank, but especially in quick match, you'll be just fine tanking as Rexxar once you get the hang of controlling your Misha and healing her on time, not too late. So I hope you have fun with this build, and I wish you success. I think it's going to prove to be the go-to tank build for Rexxar. He's a fun hero, and he's going to be pretty rewarding if you learn to play him well. So good luck with the Beastmaster Rexxar skin. Thanks for watching, and game on.